3rd, 2022 at 6:30. First thing on the agenda, regular session. Any non-public tonight? Town Manager?
Mr. Chairman, we do have one item under RSA 91A3, Roman numeral 2, lowercase a, employment.
Okay, thank you. Consideration of minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to table the June 22nd minutes under G when we were talking about the public safety building. I believe there's a lot of information that's missing, and I didn't have time to look at the tape to fill that in.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, June 27th. Somebody like to make a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the June 27th, 2022 minutes as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, July 6th minutes.
Mr. Chairman, on this one, I have some formatting issues that need to be taken care of. So again, I would like to table this set of minutes, so I'll make a motion to table the July 6 minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, July 20th.
Mr. Chairman, I have the same problem with this set of minutes, that we have some major formatting problems, and I would like to table them.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next on our agenda are public hearings. And the first public hearing deals with the charging stations. So I'm going to let Brian take care of that. This has been his ordinance from the beginning. So, Brian, do you want to?
Okay. Thank you, Dave. The Town of Wolfeboro to hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 3rd, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. in the Great Hall of Wolfeboro Town regarding amendments to the Town Ordinance, Chapter 164, stopping, standing, or parking prohibited, to a new section list as follows. F, no vehicle shall park in a designated electrical vehicle charging station space unless it is actively connected to a charging station. The violation would be same as other parking ordinances. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this?
Hi. Hi. Sorry. My name is Nancy Hirschberg. I'm chair of the Energy Committee. And I just want to report back that in the first month, the charging stations have been used over 100 times, which is far more than we ever anticipated, and it's going great. And the reason we're here is because when we came for approval, we were told that we need to have a new parking ordinance. So I gave you a piece of paper there, which is a draft of the ordinance, which Brian just read. And this is a sign, a mock-up of a sign that we'd like to get approval if the ordinance passes. And the reason we have this is so that non-electric vehicles, that the police have a way of giving them a ticket. Without this, they don't. That's about it.
Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to speak for or against this ordinance? Seeing as there is none, board, do we have any discussions on this?
Would you like a motion?
I'd like to propose an amendment to it. It says that unless it is actively connected to a charging station, there are times when cars will connect to the charger and not be receiving a charge. Sometimes it may be accidental, sometimes it can be intentional. So I would like to amend it to say, for violating ordinance 164-10-F, no vehicle shall park in a designated electrical electric vehicle charging station parking space unless it is actively receiving or has received a charge.
Second.
Okay, anybody want to address that?
Yeah, does
I don't have an
anybody
issue.
need any
No, I just
clarification?
think it makes it clearer on exactly what we're talking about, so I'm absolutely fine with it.
Do I hear a motion?
Well, you just made that motion as well,
Okay.
and he seconded it, so.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All
Thank you,
opposed?
Brian, for all your work, and Susan and the rest of the group.
And we still need to vote on the itself. We just voted on the amendment, right?
Yes.
So we still need to vote on the ordinance itself.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
You going to make that motion, Brad?
yeah, we need a motion to vote on the ordinance
Yeah, I'll make a
as
motion.
amended?
I'll make a motion to vote on the ordinance as amended.
Do I have a
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next is a temporary event permit. The Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 3rd, 2022 at 6:30 at the Great Hall, 84 South Main Street, Wolfeboro, New Hampshire, for consideration of a temporary event permit for the Wolfeboro Parks and Recreation Department to host a fall festival, September 24th, 2022, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 88 Lana Street, the Fossfield Pavilion.
Hi, Christine Collins, Parks and Rec Director. We've held this for a few years. We've transitioned, I think, 2 years ago over to the pavilion area, Fossfield Pavilion. We feel like it's a centralized location. We actually partnered with the Kingswood Youth Center, and we're doing their chili cook-off, so we think it's a great time. We're having activities, lots of fall things, so we're reaching out to other organizations right now to be part of it, so we try to just make it a festival. So we're just asking for permission to do it again.
Thank you. Anybody wish to speak in favor or against this application? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Somebody like to make a motion to,
Move to issue a temporary event permit to Wolfeboro Parks and Recreation Department to host Fall Festival on September 24th, 2022, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 88 Laner Street, the Fossfield Pavilion, permit number 2022-65.
Second.
there's a second? Brian? Okay, board, anything else? All those in favor? Aye. Next, the Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 3rd, 2022, 6:30 p.m. in the Great Hall, 84 South Main Street, Wolfeboro, New Hampshire, for consideration. Temporary event permit for the Church of United, BE Free Church, Calvary Wolfeboro, Melvin Village Community Church, First Congregational Church of Ossipee, Wolfeboro Bible Church to host games, concert, and food at the Foss Field, open green space field that's over beside the Bridge Falls Path on August 13th, 2022, 2 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Somebody here to speak to that?
Mr. Chairman, I believe they have withdrawn this permit today. They withdrew this application today.
Okay, the next is our bulk vote. And this includes weekly manifests of July 22nd, July 29th, tent to cuts, property tax refund and abatements.
Mr. Chairman, did we get that one corrected for 115 Sugar Hill Road, the amount on the agenda? Did we repost that?
I believe that was corrected.
Based on the document, it should be $14.92. Okay.
That is correct, and that was amended.
I'll make a motion to accept the bulk vote,
A through C.
A through C.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next we have board appointments. The 2021 Charette Follow-Up Committee members. Maggie Steer for the Heritage Commission, Kathy Fairman from EDC, Von Dugan from the Planning Board, Kathy Barnett, Planning Board Alternate, Roger Murray, Community Representative, Dan Schendel, Community Representative, Suzanne Ryan, Alternate, Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Mr. Chairman, there is nobody from the Board of Selectmen, and I will volunteer if the board would like to be the Board of Selectmen's representative.
Okay, would somebody like to make a motion to appoint these people? I
So-
assume everybody that is on here has been asked and will serve.
So moved.
I see there are some here, and there are some that aren't, so,
I'll second that.
okay? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
I'll abstain.
okay. Thank you. Library trustees. Stephen Farley, alternate to a member. Diane Bolduc, alternate. Sharon Bagliani is an alternate. And Sandra Whittier as an alternate.
I'll make a motion to approve that list as presented.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And if you're here, thank you for your time and effort. It's worthwhile. Okay, new business. An appointment. Class Landberg, overnight trash ordinance. Jim, you are. Thank you. Yep.
My name is Klaus Landberg. I have owned a house on Pleasant Street for 25 years. It is a very nice neighborhood. I'm sure some of you guys know some of my neighbors. Bob Varney, George Varney, the Swarfields, Lyman Belknap, unfortunately deceased, but anyway. So it has been a very nice neighborhood, and in those 25 years, I have never seen a trash can, except my own, which is locked behind a door when I don't use it. There's been no trash can on the roadside. There's been no trash cans in the front yard. This is one of the things that makes it a pretty and nice place to live. I have, however, seen quite a few bears, and I'll get back to the bears in a minute. One of these houses were sold. Brian Fitzgerald, 47 years in the post office, sold his house and retired. It was turned into a business by a new owner in California who used it as an Airbnb, and it has been a racket ever since. But that's not what I'm here to complain about. I'm here to complain about the fact that there has been full trash cans standing right on the edge of the road for at least 2 weeks, overflowing, pizza boxes falling out, pieces of pizza laying in the grass. And when I complained to the cleaning lady there, she moved it in a little bit into the still visible in the front yard. Now, this is not the kind of neighborhood that we've had the last 25 years. This is not the kind of neighborhood we want going forward. For all the things I would like you guys to do about Airbnbs in residential neighborhoods, I don't even want to touch that subject. I want to touch the subject of trash. This is where we get back to the bears. A full trash can smells like human food, and bears will do what bears does. They will come, they will split it up, they will scatter it all over the place, and eventually they will either be shot or captured. This is not what we want to happen to the bears that are friendly enough to visit our neighborhood and don't do any damage. I have lived in a lot of other cities, and they've all had trash ordinances. And the ordinance pretty much reads like this: you cannot leave trash out overnight, and when the trash can has been emptied, you have to remove it out of sight the same day it is emptied. That is the standard that I have observed in quite a number of places, and I implore you, and with the right words and process and whatnot, to implement an ordinance to this effect. It would bring some of the nice attributes of the neighborhood back. There will still be an Airbnb, and I will still object to people parking on the grass and stuff like that. But be that as it may, the trash is my major concern here today, and it's for the visual appearance of the neighborhood and for the safety of the bears. Thank you.
We will look into it.
Brian has a,
Okay, next on the,
Dave,
Brian has a.
just one thing. I've gone by there several times on my bicycle. It's my last mile on the way home. And I've seen it, so I understand it. I also know that we do have in our town ordinance 175-41, and it says, "No land or any other district herein shall set forth shall be used in a manner that is disorderly, unsightly, noxious, offensive, or detrimental to the public or the owners or occupants of adjacent property." In my opinion, when I go by that and I see the garbage all over the street and the barrels, I consider that noxious and offensive to the neighborhood.
Yeah, I think we could do it underneath there, but I think it makes sense for Wolfeboro to have a trash ordinance, so I think we should look into that. I think that's a good suggestion.
It is. But in the meantime, we can do something about this instead of waiting till we get an ordinance in place, because it is noxious and offensive.
okay. We have an appointment abatement request from Camp Bernadette.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Select Board. My name is Chris Bolt of Donahue Tucker Chandela up in Meredith, and I'm here representing the camp, which is a 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization that's operated in your town for more than 50 years. In fact, the property has been tax exempt for the life of the time that they have acquired this second adjacent parcel in 1976. So we're a little flummoxed to have to be in front of you. We're not quite sure why, but it is one where we're trying to see if we can resolve this issue before the September 1st deadline for me to have to file something at the BTLA. My letter of July 17th set forth the issues for you. One of the things that is of concern usually, and let me give a little bit of background, in addition to being a municipal lawyer for almost 35 years, I've sat in your seat in my town of Sandwich, so I know tax issues are sensitive. The good news is we're talking about $6,000 a year. That's not a lot to you, it is a lot to the camp. That equates to roughly the salary for one of the summer counselors. But like most towns in the lakes, you have various properties that are deemed exempt under the charitable exemption laws. Lakes Region Conservation Trust, the other conservation entities have various parcels. There are many parcels like that in my town of Sandwich, where we had to make determinations, because occupancy is one of the requirements. With a camp, the occupancy here is many things. Some of the buildings cross the line. Do we have a building separately on that one? No. But we do use and occupy it in the normal course of the camp operations. The Camp Bernadette, by the way, is a girls' camp. Camp Fatima across the lake is a boys' camp. And the girls will string hammocks in this area. There are events held in the area, events like encouragement of quiet time, go off, sit here quietly, and more rambunctious things. I learned today that one of the events is Catch the Counselor, which is they go off and hide and you have to go find them. But it is integral to the camp operation. It's part of the camp. And we respectfully ask that we agree that it is still exempt as it has been for 45 years since the camp purchased it in 1976, and that I don't have to file suit to do so. We do it by agreement. We have paid the June payment on time. We didn't want there to be interest issues out there, but we would like this to be resolved. I'm happy to answer any questions. I also am joined in the back row by Bud Ryer, who's the executive director of the camps, that can answer any specific questions if we need.
Anybody have any questions? Jim, can you give us any insight on this at all?
I believe that legal counsel has walked the property, simply waiting for an interpretation to come in from him with a recommendation for the board to weigh in on. That should be available before the next Board of Selectmen's meeting in 2 weeks, and you should be able to make a decision at that point.
Okay.
I appreciate that information.
Is that fair enough then?
And
Accept that?
as long as, if you could let me know where we'd be on the agenda, that'd be very helpful. And I'll be here for any questions at that time.
Okay, good.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for him right now? Okay, thank you very much.
Many thanks.
Okay, next on our agenda is discussion of MOU Abenaki Light Project.
So you received, last meeting, we accepted funds to do an expansion and renovation of the existing lighting at the Abenaki ski area. We have created a memorandum of agreement. You would have received an updated one this morning with some minor adjustments to it. Be happy to answer any questions that you have, and we can get this done and get the project moving.
Questions? I think we had it explained pretty good the last time. Okay. Thank you.
Do you need a motion to move ahead, sign this one?
Actually, we're gonna have the chair of the board sign it, so that there's some separation. So we're all set.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, next is performance evaluation form for the town manager and review date.
Would you like me to take
Yeah,
this?
go ahead, Linda.
Okay, I sent the goals of the town manager to you earlier. This is the evaluation form that we have used for years. If there's any areas you want to change, let me know. I was hoping that we could get them completed by August 24th. That gives me time to collate them all, and that we would meet to review them on September 7th in non-public and meet with the town manager on September 21st, and we meet our goal of having our evaluation done by September 30th, if that works for everybody. I will send you a copy of the performance evaluation electronically. If you fill it out electronically, it's so much easier for me to put them together. So if that works, those dates?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay,
That's for me. Everybody else all set with that?
beautiful.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the Wolfeboro Employee Appreciation Day, September 16th.
So our hopes are to close operations down for the day of the 16th for employee appreciation like we have in the past. Amy and her crew are working on activities and festivities and whatnot. It's a good team-building exercise for everybody in the town and gets them into seeing each other in a different light. So it's a good time, and we're hopeful that the board endorses it and potentially even attends.
Okay, is that at the Fossfield Pavilion like we've had it before?
I believe it is, and there's a bunch of other activities as well.
Okay. Okay, any other business?
Do you want a motion on that?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Do you want a motion to set that a date
Oh.
to close the town?
We can formalize it with a motion. I don't think we need to, but if you want, we can do
Go
that.
ahead, Luke.
Okay, I move to declare September 16th Employee Appreciation Day and close the Wolfeboro Town offices, Highway Department, Electric Department, Wolfeboro Library, if trustees allow, and Solid Waste Division. This excludes any emergencies that may arise during that day. Police and fire duty crews and dispatch will be able to participate in food events as time allows.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, move on to other business.
Mr. Chairman, I have something under other business. I have been taking the trolley faithfully downtown to do my errands, and when I do, I wander down to the town docks. And one of the things I notice is that I do not believe the no-wake buoy is out 150 feet. It looks closer than that to the town docks. And at one point, you, Dave, and I, and Steve Durgan went around and looked at the different ports and towns, and there, at one point, we were looking at putting it out 300 feet, but I was wondering whether we'd like to see if we want to move it out 200 feet. What you see is boats come flying in and then stop, and you get a big wake coming in. My other area of concern is off of our beaches. I know for Cary, we have boats right up against the swim line, and I would like to see if we could move them out at least 20 feet away from that swim line. And I think we may have the same issue at Brewster. I have not seen that at Albee. So I didn't know if the board would be willing to write a letter to our representatives requesting some of those changes.
I think that's a great idea.
I agree.
I think Meredith has theirs out very far.
They do. They have a, yeah.
And there's been an issue at Cary Beach for a long time. And obviously, boaters and swimmers don't need to be close together, so.
I've called the state about the ropes down in there to make sure that they were put in appropriately by the landowners beside our beach. And they do have the permits. And I have mentioned the rafting in there with the boats, and the state says that it's completely allowed.
I think that's why I'm asking us to go
Yeah.
through the representatives.
Yeah.
We can't change a law, but
Yeah.
they can, and that is to put some pressure on them, because I think we have some issues with it. And if we as a board write a letter, and if Jim can draft one, we can kind of work with it and ask that from our representatives to see if we can get some kind of a law. I'm sure other towns are dealing with some of the same problems.
No, I haven't. This is the first I've heard of, so I haven't looked it up. But who determines how far your no-wake buoy goes out? Is there state regulation, or can a town request the state, or how does it work?
Well, don't you have to be 150 feet? I think that's a pretty standard
Yeah.
from other boats, and so it would make sense.
Meredith is much further than that. So
I am sure they got
So how
permit-
did they get permission from the state?
I'm
or?
sure they
Almost a
did.
quarter of a mile.
Yeah, I'm sure they got some kind of permission. That's, I think, we look at the meeting and sending a letter to our representatives, and we can do some research into how they got theirs far. When we went around with Steve Durgan, we kind of came to the idea that 300 was the furthest we'd want to go out in Wolfeboro Bay, so we can look at that as a...
Yeah, because that would also help the dive shop dock and the Corinthian Yacht Club dock, because the boats go flying very close to those areas in the mooring field.
Yeah, I agree. That's just from being down there a lot this year, so...
Well, I guess the consensus would be that we have town manager send a letter out. And also, I think probably safety services should be
Perfect. I think that's a good
should be
idea. Yep.
brought in, because they're right there in Glendale. Okay, everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Committee reports.
Oh, I have another business too.
Oh.
I had a business owner in downtown speak to me, and it was about a couple of things. And it was the train station building where our Chamber of Commerce is. They said two things. One, that this year more than they've noticed before, bikes come down the rail trail, and then they continue right down the sidewalk beside the Chamber building. And they don't slow down. So that people have been run into by people taking the bikes down because they just cross the street and they keep on going. There's a bollard there to stop cars from going down the rail trail, but nothing to let bikes know that you can't ride on the sidewalk that's right there, the wooden sidewalk. They also said that on the other side of the building, the side that's on the rail trail side or on the parking lot side by the yellow condos, that there is a small step. So it has a ramp on one side, then a small step on the other side, and a lot of people fall on that small step because it probably doesn't meet code. It's very, very short, and they assume that both sides are ramped. And so they said that they've had at least a half dozen people trip and fall and see them on the ground at that step. So they were asking if it could be either marked with a caution tape like on the ground, or red tape or something so they can see it, or something else like that. So just information.
Thank you. Now we can start committee reports. Brian, you want to start?
I had no meetings at all, but I have walked the town of Wolfeboro twice and talked to all the businesses to line up everything for the Mount Washington event. And I actually reached out to the Libby Museum, and they're going to give me a final approval to come down, and they're going to participate. And I also was approached by a couple other nonprofits that want to be involved too. And Mr. Murray's not here anymore. I'm looking for the Lions and the Rotary Club to please step up and come down to the town docks for us. They're the only two nonprofits left that I need to have contact me, please.
No meetings, but been down the town docks a few weekends with the guys from DPW, and last Sunday it's been good. A lot of really good positive feedback, and I think people really enjoy seeing the guys down there, and they're having a good experience, and nothing but positive feedback. So
I agree with you, Luke. I've been down there a lot on the weekends, and they've been very helpful, and people seem very pleased, and it's a great program. Brian, you and I were at the signing of the bill for Sununu signed. So you were there, and you were there, Dave.
Yep.
I had a Wolfeboro Water Assessing Committee meeting. We had a Zoom call with DES to talk about water quality and cyanobacteria and the testing that the town can do, and how we work with the state to test for cyanobacteria. I was at the planning board meeting last night as an alternate with Brad. That's all I had.
Okay, I was with Linda, and some of us were at that signing. Then I had meeting, I think, Luke and Jim with the police and fire station. And that's all I had. Brad?
Yeah, last night had the planning board meeting that Linda referred to there. It was just a work session, no public hearings there. I also met with Mr. Pinio and Dave Ford. A little while ago, we started a discussion about working on the road standards and procedures for acceptance and stuff like that to get presented to us. And I did also want to announce that tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, they're going to be doing the dedication of the pickleball courts down here in Foss Field. We'd approved back at our last meeting there with Mr. Santoro, so that's happening tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and that's it for me.
Okay, town manager's report.
Just a couple things. First, I'd just like to recognize Department of Public Works. Last week, we got 3 inches of rain in a very short period of time and sustained some road damage. They worked diligently to get it taken care of. They were in on Saturday, so greatly appreciate the work that they've done to keep the roads passable. Just to follow up to our meeting 2 weeks ago, we have had some correspondence relative to the fire department's ladder truck. We did get an interpretation that capital reserve funds could be used if we so desired. And if we so desired, we could also hold a town meeting. However, with some discussions with legal counsel, we have sent a letter to Seagraves telling them to deliver the truck for the contracted price, or we'll see you in court. So that's where that lies. We'll see what happens from that point. Other than that, I don't have anything to add.
Any questions from the press? I don't see them on here.
Neither.
Okay, public input. This is limited to 3 minutes per person, not to exceed 15 minutes in total. Anybody want to speak to us tonight?
Excuse me, I have bad knees. I'm also 90 years old, so my knees are 90 years old, they're falling apart. Having said that, let me say a couple things. I told a young man that I was here to talk about the police department in Wolfeboro. All of you think I want to complain about the police department. You're wrong. The only thing wrong with the police department in this town, in this community, is for a community this size, they are much, much, much too small. You need more policemen. When I see the police chief directing traffic, and I've watched him 3 or 4 times this summer, I say to myself, what the hell is the matter with this community? It must be the wealthiest community in New Hampshire or very close to it. And you can't afford more policemen? How many policemen do you have? Do any of you know?
Yes.
11.
14.
I'm sorry?
14.
You think that's enough?
Yeah.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week? You think the police chief ought to be out directing traffic? You think that's a good use of his time? I don't, maybe you do. That is one of the pressing reasons why I wanted to talk to you today. I think you should do something about it because you don't need an old wise-ass Irishman telling you what's wrong with you. I am not somebody who will come here once. I'll come here until I think the police department is on the road to what it should be. That's just simply the way I am. I have a couple other things I want to talk to you about. First of all, the acoustics in this place are non-existent. Much of what you say is not heard. All of what you say is important to the people that are here, and I'm sure it's important to you. But if you really want to make it important, figure out something to do. I'm very smart, but I can't figure out what you're going to do with the acoustics. Couple other things. I don't know how to say this without insulting all of you, but it's better that I insult you than you don't listen to what I have to say. The 6 of you are very, very negligent. Let me use that word. I was going to say stupid, but you know, he's big, he's liable to hit me or something like that. You don't realize that if something happens in Wolfeboro, as I understand it, you don't have a town attorney now. Is that right?
No.
You think you're saving money?
We have a town attorney. We have a town attorney.
Well, you better get one. Second of all, if you don't have an attorney, the 6 of you are going to be made by any half-assed lawyer, party's defendant, to any suit against the town of Wolfeboro. They're not going to just sue the town of Wolfeboro. They're going to sue the people that are standing in the stead of the town of Wolfeboro. And that's the 6 of you. If you think I'm wrong, go talk to your own attorney. See what he says. And if he says, oh, no, that guy's crazy, you say, well, is there any chance I might be sued as a defendant? Somebody sues that, oh, yeah, but don't worry about that. Worry about it. And I would worry about it on my way home tonight. It is a very, very serious situation that I don't believe the 6 of you have ever thought about. If you have thought about it, you wouldn't be at this meeting. It is not a good situation. It would be a bad situation if this was a poor community. It's not. Name me a more affluent community than Wolfeboro, New Hampshire, in the state of New Hampshire. I bet you can't do it. Why? Whose money are you saving? You're saving the taxpayers' money. I'm a taxpayer, Mason. I live on the most expensive street, Spruce Road, in this town. I live in the cheapest house on the corner of Spruce Road. I paid $250,000 for 4 or 5. I have been offered 3 times that. There are only, the last time I looked, 2 houses for sale in all of Wolfeboro. What does that tell you? People want to come here. People with money. If you don't have money, you can't buy anything in this town. Take my words for whatever it's worth. You can smile at them. You can think, well, this guy is an old smart guy, is a little dumb. But I am telling all of you are very dumb if you don't get an attorney, and get one right now. If you can't get one before the next meeting, don't come to the meeting. Now, I know you're laughing. I know you think it's, believe me, I have seen these situations. I don't practice law anymore. I was never a great attorney. I made a lot of money doing it. Now I'm a so-called day trader. I work twice as hard as a day trader as I ever did as an attorney. But at least I don't have anybody telling me what to do. In any event, do that, please. Fix this damn thing so people can hear you. It's crazy not to. Get some more police in this town. I mean, aren't you ashamed that the police chief is directing traffic?
No. If you want to talk to him, he's right there.
I've seen him.
Okay.
And I don't think
I'm going to cut you off, and I'm going to answer some of your questions that you have.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
You were allowed 3 minutes. You've gone over that. Okay? Only because we have nothing else to do.
I'm hard of hearing.
He said that you were allowed 3 minutes.
over that, but he wants to
Okay,
answer.
I'll tell you what, I won't waste your time anymore. Do whatever you want.
I'm
Thank you very
going to
much.
answer your questions for you.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to answer your questions.
He is
All right.
going to answer your questions.
Go ahead.
The police department is under the control of a police commission, not us.
You think
Okay?
that's so?
Yeah, the only thing we do is we supply the funding for the police department.
Sir, I know you're a very smart man, but I can guarantee you, if something happens while you don't have a town attorney, you're going to be made a party. Maybe you'll get out on motion, but if you don't, you'll go broke paying the fee.
We have a town attorney. We've had one
They have
right
a
along.
town attorney, and he wants you to consider going to the police commission, which will handle this.
No, look,
So,
you guys, the six of you run this place. I'm not going to go running from here to there. That's your job.
well,
I'm trying to tell you something. I am trying to educate you a little. You don't want to take advice from an old guy like me. Don't. Go talk to your own private attorney and say, look, are we putting ourselves in jeopardy here? Or should we send this man to another attorney and that'll, or another party, another department here, and will that save us from a lawsuit? Have any of you ever been in a lawsuit?
yes.
You-
We have been named in different lawsuits.
In your name?
Yes.
Yes,
And
Individually.
You're still there, or you're not still?
Individually
individually.
and as a town.
Well, look, as I said before, I'm old and stupid. But guys, I'm here because I think the town deserves a little more in the way of a size police department. I think you deserve a much better facility than you have. I'm not going to go anyplace else. I may come here a couple times and
It's fine.
remind
You're
you.
more than welcome.
I'm sorry?
You're more than welcome to come.
I know I'm more than welcome. But most people that deal with me will say I am not more than welcome any more than the first or second time they meet me, because I never stop. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wish you all a lot of luck. I hope to God you take my advice. Thank you.
Oh, did he say his name, Jim? Do you have his name?
No, before you leave, could you tell us your name? We need it for our minutes. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, is there anybody else from the public who'd like to talk to us?
Suzanne Ryan, relating a story to you. When I sat on the ZBA on a meeting, I'm not representing the board, and Luke can testify to this. It was about a year ago this month that Eastern Propane came before the ZBA to look for approval to locate up to the industrial park. The board voted in favor of the proposal, and I think it might have been me, but attached one, if not more than one condition, and that was that when they got up and running, that they would remove the tanks down there behind their building. And I've been waiting for the board to talk about it, but nothing's been said. So I'm here to say he was true to his word. He did what he was supposed to do. It's starting to look wonderful there. He should be commended for doing what he's supposed to do without the town having to push and pull and get people to do what they're supposed to do. And I was hoping maybe the newspaper would put a picture in before and after, and just doing a bang-up job there. And I know those of us that travel that area are delighted to see those tanks gone. So if something could come from the board or a letter of appreciation, I know it's a little bit unusual, but that was a big deal and nicely done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You removed all the removed all the dirt, too.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
Yeah.
it's been,
Saw that. Okay, does anybody else want to talk to us? Okay, if not, entertain a motion to go into non-public.
so moved.
Second.
All's in favor?
Yes.
Yes.